So even after losing an election over one of the most important topics to voters, which is illegal immigration, the Democrats still haven't learned. What's going on, America? Welcome to Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. Before we get into this video, I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel, just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble in the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well. Now, with no further ado,
welcome to my party, we're just getting started.
Yep. Welcome to Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And you know, it's hard for me to make sense out of something when I say, you know what, this is self-inflicted. It's not normal to go ahead and say, you know what I'm going to do? I cut my arm, and I'm going to go ahead and take a knife and keep poking it. I don't want it to heal. I don't want it wrapped up. I don't want to bandage it up. I want to walk around bloody. That's what I want to do. Hopefully gangrene won't kick in. Well, the Democrats are about to go ahead and have some gangrene kick in, because these fools are still out there trying to support illegal immigrants staying here. And they know that the people's will is to deport these people. They know that Trump has a mandate in regards to illegal immigration. But for some reason now, they're trying to, of course, set the tone that this right here is going to be inhumane. Trump right here is, of course, going to be breaking up families and all of this stuff. And they're sending out the media to try to run interference before the 20th. Because you know what's coming, baby. You know what's coming, baby. Yeah, man. So with that being said, here's a couple clips here where Marco Rubio, he went on MSNBC and they asked him about it, and it didn't go so well.
Donald Trump has said he's willing to build migrant detention camps and deploy the U.S. military to deport the more than 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. It would be the largest deportation operation in American history. Do you support that plan?
Darn tootin'. I know I do. And most Americans that voted for Trump do as well. But apparently she's trying to set it up like, you know what, concentration camps, the families, and there's just 11 million of them. It's 11 million of them. She's thinking Marco Rubio might even come out and try to be like, well, you know what, that's a lot of people to be putting in camps. We don't want you guys propagandizing this, talking about this reminds me of the Japanese concentration camps and, of course, World War II concentration camps. Yeah, and instead of him coming out and saying, oops, we don't want to make it seem like we're stuffing all of these people in concentration camps. I mean, heck, that's a lot of folks. 11 million folks. Instead of saying, oops, look what he said, y'all.
11 million. That's an outdated. That was the number 10 years ago. We're talking upwards of 20, 25, maybe 30 million. Well, There's been almost 10 million people that have entered this country unlawfully in the last 3 years.
To the question, would you support it?
The number varies big time. I mean, it's another 9 to 10 million people just in the last 3 years. The answer to your question is yes. We cannot absorb 25, 30 million people who entered this country illegally. They're here illegally. What country on earth would tolerate that? We don't even know who most of these people are. They talk about vetting them with what? They're coming from nations that don't even have document systems in many cases. Yes, we are going to have to do something, unfortunately. We're going to have to do something dramatic to remove people from this country that are here illegally, especially people we know nothing about. But 10 million, 11 million, that was the number 15 years ago. Today, it's upwards of probably 25 to 30 million, maybe more.
Wow, that didn't go the way she thought it was going to go. Instead, what he did is he highlighted that the problem was way bigger than what she's even talking about. Yeah, she thought he was going to walk back the whole put 11 million people in camps and stuff. And he said, that's it? That's all we got is 11? Man, dude, you're lowballing it. You're lowballing it. You're doing what Quisha Big Kenkel's Godzilla feet, up there in New York did with Trump's property. You're lowballing it. It's way higher. It's way higher. So therefore, yeah, we need to get rid of these people. And so here she is trying to cut him off real quick when he was like, that's it? 11 mil. Shoot, it's way higher than that. But No, the question is, do you support it? And I'm so glad that Rubio held his ground and just straight up said, yes, I do. We got to get these people out of here because we don't even know who these people are. We don't know where they are, not to mention the kids that's missing and all of those gotaways. Okay, so we wouldn't be in this problem, worried about concentration camps and families being separated, if these raggedy behind Democrats wouldn't have allowed and encouraged all of these people to come into the country in the first place. So now y'all spend all the money to get them here, keep them here, and all of that stuff. But then you want to get into the logistics when it comes down to how we're going to get them out of here. Is it going to be inhumane? These people were sending their kids here with nobody with them. Just send your kid. Folks getting trafficked. There's so much damage that have come out of that border because of these Democrats, and yet they're still trying to make a way to keep these people here by shaming us and trying to make us feel like it's going to be harsh if we go ahead and deport these people. No, what's harsh is that you guys encourage these people knowing that trafficking would take place, kidnapping would take place, murders would take place, all the fentanyl coming over, all of these things. No, that right there is inhumane. So now what do? They send out an advocate for, of course, the Latino community and all of these illegal immigrants and stuff. And watch this propagandist get on there and just make up stuff. While the commentator just sits there. Yeah.
With a mayor, again, that hasn't just signaled this willingness to cooperate and collaborate with the Trump administration, but one that is literally on his way to go meet him just 4 days before inauguration. And so,
yeah, you can't do that. So Mayor Coconut, which was formerly known as Mayor Peanut up there in New York, he decided, I'm going down there to meet with Trump. And, of course, probably the hammer. You know why? Because he's working hard for his party. Do so hard. But nonetheless, that man went down there and met, and now the libs are having a problem. You can't do that. You can't go down there and meet with Trump. He's the enemy. He's like Hitler or something like that. So now she's mad and trying to say, we need to go ahead and basically check Mayor Adams. Well, the reason he went down there is because they checked him when he brought it up to the Biden administration. And that's why he ended up getting a hush up, boy. They drove him down to Mar-a-Lago with these bootleg charges. That man's trying to save his life. But let's hear this propagandist. Here we go.
I think that's the question that these migrants had. No? How will this sanctuary city that has always been this embodiment of immigrants protect them from Trump? I think one of the things that is uncomfortable, but I think you and I have talked about this many times, is the way in which the migrant crisis fundamentally changed all these cities.
Totally.
Really testing what it means to be a sanctuary city, not just sort of this physical capacity to take on migrants, but the moral capacity, to sort of like hold on to these principles when this country's shifting to the right.
Now, did y'all hear that shite? You hear that spin, that twist on that narrative? What really is showing how these migrants have changed these sanctuary cities. She's trying to make it seem like they've changed them for the better. Yeah, it's really shown the unity of the community to come out and say, we're not letting white nationalist Donald Trump come in and take our newly found Americans that didn't come over here legally and is using our taxpayer dollars and, of course, bringing crime and all kind of other issues with them. Okay, but we're willing as a community to stand and fight. It's made us better. Now, if you saw my live stream, you will also remember that there was a guy, MS-13 up in New York, just pleaded guilty for killing 7 people. And his brother pleaded guilty for the same charges a year earlier. But yet, that really changed the community for the worse. But yet, because she's up there trying to run cover for these illegal immigrants, and this lady right here is listening to her going, instead of going, girl, you sound crazy. Okay, you sound absolutely nuts. It's changed the cities, all right, for the worse.
I think that's the fear, that you can't even rely on this idea anymore. Me is, will they separate my family? Like that is what everyone is thinking about. Will our families be separated? After crossing the Darien jungle, which they did, after navigating the Mexican cartels, crossing the southern border, they're seeking asylum in a country that is threatening to separate their families. And I think that's sort of what we have to understand. That's what's coming up. In 4 days, we're about to see a Trump administration that's not just empowered, but will be completely emboldened. I don't know if you remember in 2017, literally within Trump being in office a couple of months, ICE arrests completely increased by 30%. Yeah. So I think that's the fear that people like Jason have right now, what does it mean to have this administration emboldened? No, what it means is that literally you're going to have local law enforcement pretending to be ICE agents. You're going to have ICE feeling emboldened to go into churches, hospitals, as we talked about, schools. You're going to have a new DHS that will also feel emboldened to pretend like we're literally being invaded at the southern border.
Yeah, now you hear this lady, and this lady's echoing her at their schools and stuff like that. We are being invaded at the southern border. And what she's really mad about is that when Trump got in, they actually started enforcing the law. She don't want the law enforced. She wants us to just be an open door. And she wants us to just have the border wide open. People could come and go as they want, all because they was willing to cross over all of these dangerous, terrains and brave through the cartel and take the risk to get here. Why did they do that? Did they do it on their own? Did these people take this trip and that risk all because they say, you know what, I might get to the United States border and get turned away? They did this because these raggedy behind Democrats said, search the border. And they said, we're coming. Nobody would take that risk thinking that, man, I might get there and they shut me down. So here she is trying to make it seem like it was something noble. They did all of that risk taking because they wanted to come here for a better life. But wait a minute. Why would you take that risk? Risk your kids, risk your life, spend all of that money, and you're fleeing from what? If you're running for your life, and the only reason you should be doing that is because of political persecution or religious persecution or your country's at war. If those aren't the factors, what are you doing? So you telling me y'all all are willing to walk from all the way down there through several countries in the desert and stuff just to get to our border? I thought you were trying to save your life. Why didn't you just stop at the first country you got to? Oh, that's because nobody's dumb as us, like our Democrats. They're all going, y'all can pass through. But don't stay here. Y'all go on up there and become the problem of the United States, since our dumb Democrats have given a bullhorn call to all the illegal immigrants, not just from South America, but from all around the globe. But here she is trying to get mad because ICE and all these agencies are going to now do their job. So now what she's saying is they're all emboldened now. Emboldened to do what? Just hate on immigrants because they're not from our country and we want to keep the country white? No. It's because we want to keep the country safe, sane, and not be invaded by a whole bunch of folks from China, the Middle East. We don't know where they're coming from. But no, she's not thinking like that. She's trying to imply there's some racism or something's going on.
You will have vigilantes emboldened to take matters into their own hands. And so all of this will definitely be contested. No? There will be legal fights. But I think the point is that what they're trying to do now is inflict fear. Inflict so much fear so that people like Jason either self-deport,
right,
or hide in the shadows. That's the strategy.
Did they have?
That's good. Self-deport. Bounce. Self-deportation. You're headed for self-deportation. Go on out. Shouldn't have came here in the first place. If anything, ask Biden and Kamala and all them to reimburse y'all. See, so here she is. She's talking about we're here to instill fear. No, we're here to enforce the law. But if you're here legally, you probably should be scared. Because, see, that's like me. If I'm an alien, I'm a legal alien. I'm a legal alien in New York. I would be afraid, too, because I'm walking around going, yeah, man, I shouldn't even be in it, mug. Okay, now we got us a president that's saying, I'm going to enforce the law. Yeah, I better lay low or I better go. One of the two. See, but nonetheless, they won't learn. They still think that America's under their spell. And they're all hating on Donald Trump, saying this dude right here is a xenophobe and he wants these people to stay where they're at because of racism. Nope, they blew it. These Democrats didn't know how to pump the brakes on these illegal immigrants, and it became so big and so many of them that it filtered over into all of their minorities that thought Trump was just being a racist. And now they're going, I feel like a racist too. These folks are in our neighborhood too. They got to go. And then, of course, we end with this clip.
I want to call your attention to an effort that I've led to help reunite children with their parents.
What?
Children who were separated as a result of the so-called family separation policy in the last administration. I have introduced a measure called Keep Families Together, not only to limit separation of families at or near ports of entry, but also the Families Belong Together Act for several Congresses to help bring the children the kids who were victims of this policy and who still are not back with their parents. I hope that you...
Now, do you hear this, Shite? See, they, of course, want to bring up the kids when it's convenient in a certain context. See, they want to use the whole narrative of separating families because they're thinking, okay, everybody might feel a little some way if you find out you're ripping kids from their parents. But see, notice he don't want to talk about all of these kids that somehow got sent here without their parent. He don't want to talk about that. He don't want to talk about when these folks come here with a kid and they get detained. We can't have those kids sitting in there with all those adults. So of course we got to separate them. He don't want to talk about the kids though in the other context where they're really at risk, meaning they're missing all of these kids. So now, as he's trying to pull on the heartstrings of Americans to turn their sentiment against this deportation stuff, you know, hoping that the whole kid family thing could be the big issue to have folks focus on that. Yeah, man. We want to go ahead and make people feel a little some way when they start seeing these folks getting sent back. Here's my point. If you are an adult and you send your kid here, okay, without you, that's a problem. You're irresponsible. Secondly, if you come here with your kids and you know you're here legally and they go ahead and detain you, you got to be prepared for the consequence. Okay. But thirdly, you can go back with your kids, the whole family intact. So they're using this as a strong man so that they can say, well, I guess we can't send none of them back. We can't do that because of the kids and stuff. So you want to send them back? You want to send them back without their family? That ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work this time. And watch what she does to this man right here as he tries to slide in that raggedy narrative like he cares about the kids.
You will support that kind of effort.
Senator, the Trump administration never had a family separation policy.
Oh.
They had a zero tolerance policy, which said that our laws would be followed. What I'm alarmed by is the over 300,000 children that went missing during the Biden administration. And when we talk about children and what they're potentially facing as far as victimization in this country and the trafficking that's going on, this administration's lack of desire to find out where those children are or what they may be going through is alarming to me. So I want to stop that.
Because my time is expiring, I'm just going to interrupt again with apologies to say, let's put aside.
Well, I can't put aside 340,000 children.
Labels. Let's put aside what happened in the past.
Yeah, let's put that aside. We don't want to talk about that stuff that happened just a couple years ago. The last 4 years, actually, we don't want to talk about that. Don't be reminding us of our dirty work. Don't be bringing up the fact that we lost more kids than we're trying to pretend we're trying to reunite with the family. We got, 1,000 kids that need to be reunited with the family, but we lost 300,000 kids, though. Those kids don't count. Stop bringing that up. You think after we done laid all this doo-doo, we want to go back and investigate it and sniff it? Huh? We don't want you rubbing our noses in our dookie. So these Democrats now want to just let bygones be bygones. Let's not discuss how all of these families got here, how all of these kids, the ones that are really in danger, probably being trafficked. We don't know where they're at. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Let's let those things be, in the past. I want to talk about Trump and the separation that took place 4 years ago. 4 years ago, and those kids still, some of them haven't reunited with the... Now, do you see how unserious these Democrats are? You see how whack they are? You see how they're trying to selectively craft this narrative to save the illegal immigrants and keep them here, not because of the families and they want the kids to be safe and the families together. No, they want future voters, and they know that they can use kids being separated as a wedge to drive sentiment away from deportation. And this lady called out that hypocrisy, and he went ahead and said, let's not talk about that. That was a long time ago, like a couple of weeks and stuff ago.
There are still 1,000 children who are separated and waiting to be reunited. I'd like your commitment that you're going to continue the effort to reunite them with their parents.
Senator, keeping families together is critically important to me and to this country. I'm concerned about Laken Riley's family, that they no longer have her. I'm concerned about the fact that we have people in this country that don't know where their children are, or people in other countries who sent their children here and they've been lost by this administration. So yes, my focus will be to keep families together. We will uphold our law and we'll make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep our children safe from the trafficking and the drug epidemic that's hit this country.
I'm going to end on an optimistic note and say I take that as a yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms.
And that is how you handle a Democrat. That's how you really expose their motive, and if they're really all busted up on the inside because of the separation of the family. Democrats aren't nice. They're not that nice. They're not that compassionate. Yeah, these folks don't give a darn about those kids, or else they wouldn't have encouraged these folks to drag their kids through the desert, put them in danger. Sometimes cartel members throw them over into the river. The kid might be crying in the truck. You got to suffocate the kid. All kind of crazy stuff goes on with these kids. And the Biden administration has assisted one of the largest trafficking, situations to occur. Yeah, they were part of that. Human trafficking. They supported that by saying, come on, now to search the border. And now he want to talk about 1,000 kids that needs to be reunited with their families versus the 300,000 that the Biden administration lost. And it shows they're disingenuous and they're only using this kid separation narrative to manipulate people's emotions while overlooking that 300,000 of them are missing. And thank God I'm here to expose the hypocrisy. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. Oh, man, it's almost time, y'all. And they know it's coming. They can't stop it. Now, don't forget to hit that like button, share my videos, follow me on all the other platforms. Links are listed below. Check out Kevin's Corner Store. And also, if you want to, donate to the channel, you can through my Cash App and my PayPal. And I think that's about it. See y'all next time at Kevin's Corner. And don't forget, I do a live stream Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock. So check it out. God bless. Take care.